Year 5s, and welcome to your first computing lesson of this term. I know it's a bit strange being at home and you're having to use your computers already. Those of you who've got laptops or a computer desktop will be able to do this program. And those of you who've got a tablet, you may be able to do some of the features. But unfortunately, I think some of you who are working on phones or on your PlayStation, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to access. So this is an optional lesson. And those of you who are able to do it, then you can obviously go ahead and have some fun with me today. We're going to be looking at the program Scratch. Some of you may have already done some of this in the past. So we're going to go through the lesson and then we're going to start creating a game. So we're going to be looking at features today, all right, and what makes up a game. We're going to be looking at different types of computer games. We're going to identify that they have backgrounds, that they have characters, they need to have actions, and the whole game has to have a purpose. So what are you trying to achieve? And we're going to look at backgrounds and characters in particular today. So we're going to go through our just checking. So you can pause the video now and have a go. Don't worry about the computer terms, but see if you know what those words mean. And if you don't know what they mean, we'll go through them at the end. So have a little look and see how much you remember from the last couple of years. So pause the video and have a go. Right, so let's go through your just checking. So last week, what is Google and why are we using it now? Okay, so Google is a search engine, which means I can type something in and I can search it and it'll pop up and then I can go and click on it and go to that specific site. Okay, and why are we using it now in particular? Well, most of you are obviously going to be accessing your home learning through YouTube, and we would go onto Google to go and find YouTube, which is the site we're using to upload our videos. So last term, why do you think touch typing is useful? Now, I know we didn't do computers last term, but some of you have been playing with touch typing. And touch typing simply means that you don't have to look at the keyboard, that you can touch the keys without looking at each letter and doing it like this. So why do you think that is useful? Now, the reason why it is useful is that it helps us to, first of all, check our work as we are writing it. It also helps us to work quickly, all right? And it is more efficient. So those are some of the reasons why touch typing is useful. And today you're going to have an opportunity to go onto BBC Dance Mat and do some practice. Right, do you know that all computers have a process of instructions, okay? And their specific code that they use is they only use 2 numbers to interpret all those instructions and how to process information. And I don't know if any of you have heard this before, but perhaps you have, and it's called binary code, and it uses only the numbers 1 and 0, okay? So computer system is created with 1s and 0s, and that's how it processes instructions, and it's in a sequence, and then it knows how to understand what it needs to do. So some of the terms that we're going to be looking at over the next couple of weeks is log in. So when we have to log into anything, it could be that you have to log into a site or you have to log onto your computer. It's your details, okay? And generally you have what we call a username and a password. Your username is specific to you. So most of you know mine is KFink because it's the first letter of my name and my surname, and my password, which I'm not going to give you, but my password is something that is always secret to you. You don't share that information with anybody else, and it's something that you then use to log into your specific sort of site, okay? So that all your details will come up, all your work that has been saved will come up, and you're not going to be accessing anybody else's work. Scratch is the game that we're going to be looking at today. It is the site we're going to be using, and we're going to be creating a maze game. Coding is the way that we use to write a program, okay? And it has to be coded so the computer can interpret it and understand it. And that then goes into a sequence, so it needs to follow one after the other. Otherwise, it's just going to spout out different bits of information. And then sometimes we have problems, so things like, we call them bugs. They're not literally bugs that come into your computer, but there are things that we need. There are problems that arise in a computer system, and we then need to fix it. And that's what we call debugging. Okay, and programmers are very good at doing things like that. So those of you who are very tech savvy and want to become a programmer or somebody who works in IT, I'm sure that many of these words are sounding very familiar to you. So, what components make an exciting game? So what parts make an exciting game? So that is our big question today. And I want you to have a think about that as you work through the next couple of activities. So you're going to be doing some touch typing as your starter now. And if you go to Dance Mat on BBC, you can then type that into Google. So you're going to go and get into Google now. And that is the search engine. You're going to start saying Dance Mat BBC. Program will come up. You click on it, and then you can do some touch typing exercises. I'd like you to pause the video now, and you can go and do that for 10 minutes. If you really enjoy it, you can come back and do some a bit later in some of your free time, maybe this afternoon. So have a go at that, and I'll see you back in 10 minutes. Right, I hope you had a lovely time learning all touch typing. I remember when I learned touch typing, and it was very difficult in the beginning. But now it has made my life so much easier, especially when I'm having to type up documents very quickly or worksheets or send an email. It is very efficient for me now because my fingers just do the talking, as so to speak. All right, so hopefully more practice. Remember, practice makes perfect. The more you're practicing that touch typing, the easier it is going to become. And I know it's frustrating now, but the more you do it, the better it'll become. And it'll become almost like second nature. My fingers now just know where the letters are, and I don't even think, oh, where's the letter A? My finger just knows where to go. So we've spoken about some vocabulary already, but these are ones that specifically are going to be relevant for today's lesson. So we talk about the background. So what's in the background of your game? Many games have themes. It could be like under the sea, in a desert, in a jungle, okay? It could be on a made-up planet. So that would be your background, what's happening behind your character. The sprite is another term for character, and that's what we're going to be using today in our Scratch program. So sprite is just another word for character. So when it says choose your sprite, it doesn't mean it's the kind of drink you're going to be having. It is actually the character that you're going to be choosing. Right, your algorithm. An algorithm is simply a set of instructions that describes how to get something done. Okay, it's how one thing flows after the other, and a sequence then is the structure and in how it's going to go in order. Okay, so those are some of the words that you can have a look at and maybe be using in your vocabulary when we're doing computers this term. So I would like you to have a quick think about all the games that you've played in the past, all right, and games that you play now. And you guys will probably be much better at me than this because I'm not a computer person, and I don't particularly play computer games, but many of you do play computer games or PlayStation or any of those sort of games. So you probably know loads more than I do. So what do you think makes up a game? And what do you think you would want to see when you log into your game? Okay, what do you think is going to come up? So have a quick think now and brainstorm some ideas. You can write them on a piece of paper, or you can just have a think about them. And I would like to see, maybe some of you got some of mine, and I'm pretty sure that you're going to have extras to add to my list. Because as I said, I'm not somebody who plays these games regularly, and so I don't really know all of them. So let's see how you did. Right, so first of all, we spoke about the background, having themes, and so those themes would then create certain things that you would expect to see in that background. So for example, if it was under the sea, you expect to see sea creatures and corals and all those sort of background items, and like even the ocean itself, maybe a boat on the top, okay? So your character is obviously who you are selecting to be in the game. So many times you can get to choose your character, what you can wear, what your hairstyle is, okay? So character, we all should know. Our theme, again, could have, the theme would then tie into the background a lot. So if it's under the sea or it's in space, all right, you would want to see specific things that would relate to that theme. Right, you could get actions, so how you're going to move, all right, and how you're going to get to one object to the next. Maybe you have to jump, maybe you have to roll. And all games will have a purpose. What are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to get the treasure? Are you trying to eat all the little pieces of fruit along the way to collect points? Okay, so what is the purpose of the game? Why do you play the game? And then you might even have objects that you have to then collect on your way. Okay, so you guys have probably come up with loads more than I have. And so if you have, fantastic. And those are something that I just thought of. So what I would like you to do now is to create a very simple maze. And the reason why I say simple is because you're going to have to draw this out on your screen in a few moments. So make sure it is simple. Do not overcomplicate it. Otherwise, you're going to get very frustrated when we do log on to Scratch, because then you are going to not be able to work through your maze. Okay, so make it a very simple maze. Here are some examples. All right. And you can pause the video now, and on a piece of paper, you do need to make sure that you're doing it on a piece of paper, not in your head. Can you please go and create a maze? And a maze is simply a direction in which a character will need to navigate to go through in order to get to the other side. Okay, so something very, very simple. It cannot have curvy lines either. It has to have straight lines. Have a think about how you would like to design your maze. Okay, so I'm going to give you a few seconds. Well, not a few seconds. You can pause the video and then we'll go through it. And as I say, make it simple. Don't overcomplicate it. And you are welcome to even magpie the two that are on your slide. So have a go now. Great. Okay, so I have chosen this one. Okay, this is going to be my maze. All right. Now, the only thing I want to say to you is just make sure that there is an opening. So my little mouse is actually stuck. So just make sure that there's an opening here for your character to go through, and an opening at the end as well. Okay, so mine doesn't have one, but just so that you are aware that you will need an opening for where you start and an opening at the end. So I have copied it down on my piece of paper, and hopefully I'm going to be able to copy this onto the Scratch program. So I'm going to stop sharing now, and I'm going to share my screen with you, and hopefully now let me just make sure that you have it. Okay, hopefully you should be able to see that. Okay, so this is the Scratch program. So if you just type in Scratch into the Google search, this will come up and you select it, and then you can create an account. Now, you will need permission from your parents because they will be sending you a confirmation email, which means that you would need to log on to your parents' email, or your parents would need to do that, and then say that you can have permission, all right? So you are welcome to this. It is free. It doesn't cost you anything. You can see here that this is my account, year 5K Fink, all right? And so once you've logged on, it's all for free. I did mine yesterday, and you will then get this page. So if you need to do that now, first go and ask permission, get that sorted, and then when you're ready, you can come back to this screen. So once you have logged in, okay, and those of you who haven't logged in, remember, I'm not sure if on the phone is going to work because it will be very, very small, and you will need keys in order to be able to manipulate and move your characters and create the maze. So see if you can have a go, but I'm not entirely sure how it will work on a phone. I do know that with a laptop or a desktop, you definitely should be able to do it, maybe on an iPad or tablet. So have a go and see. Right, so once you have this page, you then need to go to this tab at the top called Create. And it should load for us. Taking its time today. Right, and you will then get this page. I'm just going to move myself to the corner. You will land up with this page, okay? Now, if you would like to go and do a bit of exploring today after this lesson, you are welcome to. You can go and explore some of the icons and see what you can do. But for today's lesson, you're going to be creating the maze that you drew earlier. Now, for starters, we need to select a character. So here at the bottom, it says your sprite. That is the character here. However, you can change your character. You do not have to have the sprite. You can change it. So if you click on this icon over here at the bottom, it says choose a sprite. So I'm going to click on it, and you will see that there are a number of different characters that you can choose. Okay, you can choose anything. You can choose the cheesy puffballs. You can choose the crystal. You can choose the crab. Okay, but all of you know that I love to be a ballerina, so I'm going to choose the ballerina. Now, you only need to have one character. So I'm going to delete this second sprite by clicking the delete button, and I will only have one character on my screen. Okay. Now my character is very big, and we will need to make it a little bit smaller. So if you go at the bottom here, you can see that there are different sizes. Okay, and you can then change it, and I'm going to change it to 30. All right, and oh, really small. Let's make him a little bit bigger, maybe 50. Right. Also, when you go onto your sprite and you've chosen your sprite, if I go, I wonder if I can go back. No. Okay. Let me go back to my sprite here. So if I click on the ballerina, oh no, never mind, it doesn't come up. Right, never mind. Right. So we're going to go then to this icon here called paint. Okay. Hopefully, yep, there we go. And you should then get this page here. And now I'm going to be able to select the different backgrounds. Now I don't need the sprite, I'm just going to delete that. There is my ballerina. There are also different ways your ballerina or whatever you've chosen can look. So I'm going to have the one where it looks like she's dancing. Okay, I've got the size, it's not too big, and she looks like she's dancing. So you can have a play around there, and you can see the different types of positions you can get your sprite to change into, and then have it at the top. Okay. Now we're going to start drawing up our maze. So you're going to click on this line here, which says line, and you are then going to build your maze. Okay, so I just need to make my ballerina move away. Delete that. Oh, she's got no dress now. So you can see I'm just as new as you, and I want her just to move to the side. Oh, she's really gone off the page now. So you can see I'm also playing with this game, and I'm also learning and figuring it out. Okay, so let's just see. I want her to go back. Right. Now I'm going to try and make up my maze. Okay, so if I click the background, all right, so now I want to go just to the background. And so I'm going to get this page here. So your sprite has to do, as I say, your sprite. Oh, I've just gone and done it all over again. Right, chosen my sprites. Okay, once you've chosen your sprite and you're happy with it, you can go to the paint and you can change the position of her as well. Okay, but I need to go to the background. Nope, I don't want that background. I just want a plain background. Right, let's see now. Okay, now I'm going to try and draw my maze. Okay. So as best as you can, and oh, I've got another sprite going on. So there, and my background. Why is this doing this? I need to go to the paint. Okay, there we go. This is what I'm wanting. So background to the paint, and I've got this in. Now go to the line, and now I'm going to draw out my maze as best as possible. Okay, so you can have a go. So I'm going to try and draw my maze, and you should see it coming up on the side here as well. Okay, and you might need to play around with it. Okay, you need to make it big enough for your character to be able to move through. Okay. Hopefully you're doing a little bit better than me, because this is not as easy as what I thought it would be. Okay. There's a line there. And one down here. Okay, So hopefully you have something like that. Right, now your sprite needs to be able to move through without touching. So she's a little bit big, so I'm going to make her a bit smaller, and maybe she will be 13 now. Right, and now I can go and check that she can move through the maze nice and easily to get out. All right, so that's what you're going to be doing today. As I say, you can go and play around with this. You can go and have a bit of fun with it. You can go and investigate, all right, and the different backgrounds and the different shapes, and then you can try and save it, all right? So that's all you're going to be doing today. And as you can see, I'm also figuring it out. So you've got your sprite and you've got your background, and you're going to play with both of them, and you're going to try and draw out your maze as neatly as possible, and then try and save it. I know last year, when we did this in year 5, some of us struggled to save it because we were all logging onto the same login. So hopefully now you'll be able to save it and see how it goes. But play around with the game. I know I'm going to be playing around with it a bit more so that I can get really comfortable with the program, and that my maze will be ready for next week. So if you can try and save it, do so. If you struggle to save it and you aren't able to get it back, then we will give you some time next week to quickly draw out your maze again. But as I say, go and have some fun with it, go and play around with it, go and see what you can do. And as I say, hopefully some of you are able to get onto this program. And if you're not, remember this is an optional lesson, so you don't have to do it. It's only if you can access it. And don't forget to ask your parents for permission. So hope you have a wonderful day and enjoy your computer lesson if you're able to get onto it. Otherwise, I will see you tomorrow. Bye.